Okay, live studio audience. Anyway, I'm gonna make Arroz con Pollo today. I know that's not how you say it. I've got my recipe printed off. I made it like 4 times recently, but it's really tasty. And I've been doing it. I did it my first time with chicken, which I'm gonna do again today. But the past 2 times I've done it with ground pork, and it's good. But the chicken really was really good. So we're gonna do it that way. I'm actually gonna look at the recipe this time again. So hopefully it turns out a little bit better. I'm also going to try moving the camera around a bit more today while I film, which I think might be cursed and it'll make me take longer. But at the same time, I don't know, we're trying things out today. It's like already 7 o'clock p.m. Oops. We're going to see how this goes. Let me get the camera set up on the old cutting board. All right, this is the work surface for today. I'll zoom it in a second once I get cut in here. But I've got 2 peppers that I'm gonna do because I like the peppers, they're tasty. I got some onion, and then we're gonna use one of these chicken breasts and cut that up, put it all in this bowl, and that way I can throw it all in at the same time, along with a little bit of ginger, which I'll get from not ginger, what the heck, garlic, some pre-cut, pre-minced garlic from the fridge. And we'll throw that in along with it when I get it on the stove. But first we got to chop up a whole bunch of stuff, so let's do that right now. All right, first things first. Got to get my... Do we think it'll fit in a freezer quart? Maybe. Also, which one of these is bigger? Is the other question. I simply don't know. Because it's almost 2 pounds, so like whatever I choose doesn't really matter. Also, no, I will not be touching chicken. I think it's gross. I will be using a fork the whole time. No one bully me. Pop it in here. You didn't see how well that went potentially, but that went really well. I'm something of an expert at chopping up chicken. Gotta cut off the gross bits. And before anyone asks, yes, that is a gross bit. I don't care. The cat has decided to start chasing something around. And I want these pieces kind of small. Last time I did this, I almost made them too big. So we're gonna try this time to kind of make them a bit smaller. Really bite-sized pieces of... I was gonna cut up the veggies first, so that I wouldn't have like a poultry covered cutting board. Rats. I was too focused. I wanted to get, see, okay, those 2 can go in. This one I kind of want to cut up one more time. That went smooth. All right, let's get the thing done. I'm so sure that it's getting picked up by the mic, but the cat has decided that right now is the time to play with the pom-pom that I found earlier. And she is just batting it around, chasing it around the kitchen floor. She was napping for about 2 hours before this. All right, I've finished chopping it. I threw out the chicken, but now I got to wash this because I was going to do those on it. And I could actually might just grab a different cutting board, but I do got to clean my knife, so that'll be that. All right, time to do some onion and then pepper, because we're going to do onion, then I'm going to use the whole pepper anyway. I don't think I'm going to use the whole onion. Let's take a good chunk of that. That was an awful cut, dude. Did you see that? You did. You're all watching. Let's do a bunch of onion, actually. I'll deal with that later on another day. But let's take off a little bit. And let's take off a little bit. Boom. And no one's allowed to bully me for taking off too many layers. You're not eating it, only I am. It's my own money. I'm being really defensive about the way I cook for someone that's willingly recording themselves cook. Boom. All right, that's my first bit. All right, let's get that in the bowl. Time for some pepper. Oh, I got a sticker on mine. Does that mean good luck? All right. I'm going to cut this in the way that I know how to, and no one's allowed to bully me. So I'm going to cut it basically just in half. And I'm just going to break it, kind of. Boom. And I'm going to hit it with a little bit of one of those. That went very well comparatively to how it normally goes. We're going to get some nice long strips, and I know that I could very easily cut off this part and use it, but I don't want to, so I won't. Nanny foo-foo these up. Boom. Look at all that. Let's get that in there right away. Boom. I love peppers. Base, what do you need? You have food and water, dude. I can't really help you with this whole, like, under the fridge thing, I don't think. I don't even see it, dude. What the hell did you do? There's a bunch of shit under here, dude. Hey, look, I got your stupid pom-pom, idiot. I also made a fucking mess of the kitchen. Hey, look. You're a fucking idiot, dude. Well, now I gotta go get a freaking broom. Alright, so I only ended up doing one pepper, but that's also what it calls for. It's also called for green, but green peppers suck. Anyway, I got a bowl of stuff here. Let's put it in the stove. Before I get this thing set up staring at the actual food itself, I would like to explain my kind of next to the thing stuff. So I got some spices. I got cayenne pepper, oregano, and chili powder. I got a can of tomato paste. I got canola oil. I got the spray because I didn't. Behind it, I got some rice, just kind of pre-ready. I've got a little bit of white wine for it, and I got some chicken broth. So now let's get this thing set up and heat it up. Put the mic above the stove again. I'm turning on to like about halfway, about medium heat, and we're gonna throw in a splash of oil to get this thing kind of started. And we're gonna let it heat up. All right, so now we're gonna go in with the about a pound of diced chicken, a bit of onion, a bit of pepper, a bit of red pepper, and then some salt and pepper. Let's make sure we get all that here. Baba booey. And we're gonna let that cook. Oh, I need my freaking garlic too. And just a touch of funny garlic paste. Might need a little bit more oil. I was pretty light with it. Throw in a little bit more just to be safe. And the goal right now is to let the onion and the peppers cook down a little bit and get nice and, you want to lose their crunch basically. You want it to be nice and tender along with the chicken. So we're going to let this cook for a little bit longer before we do our next step here. We are really rather close to our next step. So what I'm going to do, because there's a lot more cooking to be done here, is I'm going to put in the next things. Firstly, I'm going to put in our rice, because that is a big part of this. And I'm going to let that kind of soak up some of these juices. Yum, 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 yum. I just use whatever rice I have on hand. My rice is also stored in a dog food container, so like, to each their own. Next step is the chicken broth. I've got some left over in the fridge, so we're going to start there with whatever's left of that, and then we'll open up the new one. How much am I doing this? 2 cups of chicken broth, alright. That makes sense to me. Let me try this new one. I get boxed chicken broth because I don't feel like doing it myself. My mom used to do it herself. But I am not my mother, despite being a mama's boy. Alright, that's 1 cup. And then let's do cup number 2 here. Cup number 2. And then, don't get rid of that cup measure just yet, because we've got to do half a cup of white wine. And honestly, it probably tastes better if you use real white wine, but I only get the weird cooking wine because I don't drink alcohol. I just don't drink alcohol, so I have no need for it. All right, let's give it a little stir. Starting to smell good. Yum, yum, yum. Alright. So, for spices, the amounts on the recipe are quite low. It's a 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder, an 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne, and a 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. I ignore that shit fully, and I just kind of do what I think is right. So right now I've got my chili. I kind of do, more of it than the other ones. That feels right. I do a little bit less oregano, and oregano is kind of the fun one here because normally when I do things, oregano is kind of reserved for tomato sauce for like spaghetti, and then I just do a little bit of cayenne for the heat. I like throwing a little bit of that in, and then I just kind of mess around with it later. I'm also going to throw in a little extra salt out of my salt pig. If none of you guys don't have a salt pig, you should consider getting one. Oh man, I really can't. Oh, there it is. Let's put that in there, right in the soup. And then a little bit of pepper for good measure. Also at this step, I almost forgot it on all the excitement, but we also want to put in sliced onions. Now, they're not onions, sliced olives. And while you might not believe me, because you might hate olives, you might think it's silly that they are sliced. It actually is maybe the best part of this entire dish, is just getting those little delicacies in your scoop when you go to eat it. It's kind of like the best part, low-key. And I usually buy them pre-sliced because I'm lazy, but I had just only 1 normal can of olives, so I had to lace up my bootstraps and do it myself. And then finally, There's a little bit less than one of these tiny cans of tomato paste. The recipe says 4 tablespoons, but I don't know what a tablespoon is, and I just do a little bit more than half of one of these cans, and it's worked out so far. It's about how I expect it to be. 1, 2, 3. I do kind of 4 biggish scoops of my 1 spoon here, and then I try to clean it off a little bit, maybe. There, boom, clean. And then this has to come to a boil, and then we cover it, and then hopefully it'll be done. Let's give it one more stir before then. I'm starting to think that might be a boil. Let's give it a little stir and see if that's true. Sounds like it, kinda. Oh, look at that. Yep. It's giving a little bit of boil vibes. Alright, that's definitely boiling. So I'm going to cover it up. And we'll reduce it to a simmer. Alright, it hasn't quite been 10 minutes here, but I always get antsy about this. Because I don't want the rice to burn to the bottom. So let's take a peek at what we got stewing up over here. Oh my gabagool. Oh, it smells, oh, I can feel some of it sticking to the bottom a little bit. Wherever the heat coils are. It's part of the problem using electric. Never quite works the way that I want it to. I'm used to, I grew up in a house with a 5-burner propane, or gas anyway. Oh man, that thing was awesome. That thing ripped. Alright. Covering it back up for a little bit more. Alright, I got distracted watching the stream, but we're going to see how this is turning out. Ooh, it's looking good. We're going to see if I have to add more liquid to it here in a moment, depending on how... Ooh, oh, that is really stuck to the bottom. Ouch, fuck. That hurt. Where's my oven mitt, so I can hold this pot. Oh, man. Oh no. I got some really stuck to the bottom over here. Dude, that is one of the problems with using these cast irons. They hold so much heat, even on the lowest settings. I always have to be on the lookout for things like that, where it just sticks. It sticks. Alright, that seems like it worked pretty well. Alright, is the rice done enough that it's done, or do I gotta add more liquid? That's the question right now. Alright, let me get a little bit of rice on the edge of this thing. Let me take a little... Honestly? No, that's done. Holy moly, that never happens. Alright, that's done. Let me plate some of this up, and then I'll show you a little bowl at the end. I mean, what else can I say besides this looks really freaking good? If I lined it up right, I can even zoom. I didn't line it up right at all. I still zoom in a little bit. It's just so good. This is going to be so tasty. One sec. Alright, I sure as hell am in frame here. Dude, this looks so delicious, and I'm so going to make sure I get some olive in this plate. A little bit of pepper. It's going to be so hot, though. It's going to burn my mouth. Alright. Oh, my mouth is watering. It's so simple. It's so simple. Oh my god. God, I hope this is framed right too so you can see my reaction. Oh my god, this is so good. Oh my god. I'm gonna go burn my mouth. Let's go.